Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, an amazing year of mobile gaming is coming to an end, and since tier list videos were all the rage this year, I figured there'd be no better way to end off a year of mobile gaming than by ranking all the best mobile games of 2019, that I've played at least, and put them into one huge mobile games of 2019 tiers list. So I know the tier list meme is kinda dead at this point, but video games have taught me always to double tap, so let's call this the final killing blow to tier list videos of 2019. Now, it is inevitable that probably 80 or 90% of you are gonna hate me after this video because you disagree with how I rank 1 or 2 or maybe even all of these games, but don't let that feeling scare you though. Hold on to that feeling, just fire away in the comments instead, roast me, and let me know how you would rank these games in your own top tier list. We are gonna talk about all the big free-to-play releases of 2019, both indie and AAA games. As long as it has been released in 2019, I will include the game in my list. So, in no particular order, let's dive in, starting with Ragnarok M Eternal Love, which was a neat isometric MMORPG, and it really captured that essence of a PC MMORPG very well for me. Also liked that we don't have any auto-questing features, which is very unique on mobile these days. It does take up freaking 5 GB of space though, so that together with its monetization, I guess that bumps it down to a B tier. I don't want to start out too hefty on this tier list. Now, Frag Pro Shooter is an okay attempt at creating something along the lines of a team-based hero shooter on mobile, a bit like Overwatch on PC, but just with a lot less polish. The game felt rather clunky though, but I like the idea of the game, so I guess this is a D tier on our list. Now, the next one is Langrisser, and Langrisser had a really great combat system, and the turn-based tactical JRPG gameplay is just a lot of fun in Langrisser. It did have an energy system though, so I'll throw this one in as a B-tier game together with Ragnarok Mobile. The next game is kind of a controversial one, I'll admit. It's Hexonia, and this game is essentially Battle of Polytopia, but just with a slightly more polished art style. I know a lot of Battle of Polytopia fans really hate Hexonia, but I quite enjoyed it, just like I enjoyed Hexonia, by the way, so I'm sorry, but this, in my opinion, is definitely an A-tier game. And just for the record, yes, Battle of Polytopia would also have been an A-tier game, in my opinion, if it had released in 2019, that is. Moving on though, Otmar is a nearly perfect mobile platforming game. It has been developed by the Leo's Fortune developers, and the UI is great. The controls are really well made for mobile. You really should play this game just for the controls, just to experience that in case you haven't already. And the gameplay is a lot of fun as well, so this is what an S-tier platformer looks like, in my opinion. Now, this next game is a bit of a weird one, to be honest. It was an indie roguelike sci-fi action game, but I really enjoyed it. The developer is also working on a follow-up game already, so this is definitely an A-tier experience in my opinion. It also has great monetization, so you don't have to be afraid of pay-to-win monetization or paywalls or anything like that. This is more lightly monetized, as most indie games thankfully are. But from great monetization to horrible monetization though, because the Elder Scrolls Blades released this year and it had fun gameplay. It could be played both in landscape and portrait mode. This could have been an amazing game, but then they of course had to add horrible monetization, slow progression, a menu and UI that was really sluggish at launch. So yeah, no thanks. This is an E-tier game in my opinion. Grim Valor though was such a great experience. You guys really should play this game if you haven't already. Its polished gameplay and great monetization makes this an easy S-tier game. And then 2019 also saw a bunch of Nintendo games release, such as Pokemon Rumble Rush. What a boring game. E-tier. This is really not what I think any of us wanted from Nintendo. Graphics were underwhelming and the gameplay was just, frankly, it was just lazy. Pokemon Masters though, this started as maybe a D tier or maybe a C tier, but then has moved all the way up to a B tier game in my opinion. Lots of great updates. If you really hate auto gameplay though, you'll probably find this one near the bottom of your own tier list. Dr. Mario World was the next Nintendo game to release this year. It had a frustrating energy system in my opinion. The gameplay was kinda decent though, so let's say this is a C tier, or you know what? Nope, I got bored with this game. This is a D tier game. Mario Kart Tour though, this one was actually kind of nice. Once we get real-time multiplayer, it's gonna be really great. So maybe by then it'll be an A tier or an S tier, depending on how they implement that. For now though, I would say Mario Kart Tour is a B tier game, but maybe it's the best kart racer on mobile already. With multiplayer, I really think it will be the best. Now, I really didn't play a lot of sports games this year, but I did play Golf Blitz though, and this is truly an A tier mobile game in my opinion. It's definitely in my top 3 golf games on mobile, together with Golf Battle. battle, and so I'll land this one, as I said, on the A tier section. Now, Bullet League is another A tier mobile game. Well made, super fun, a mix of Battle Royale, Fortnite, and 2D platformer. It really doesn't get any better than that, in my opinion. There's no heavy monetization either, by the way. It only monetizes through cosmetics, in fact. So, you know what, guys? Let's move this one to the S tier. I think it actually deserves that. Now, another really big trend this year were, of course, these auto chess games. Don't know if you guys have heard of them, but there were lots of them all of a sudden from big franchises. One of them was Chess Rush, and this was actually the best auto chess game in my opinion, so I'll put this one on the A tier list. Now, we also had Dota Underlords, which was kinda underwhelming, I gotta admit, at least when it launched on mobile. It just felt like a rushed release that wasn't polished at all, so I can't give this one more than a B tier, or actually, considering that it's Valve, maybe it doesn't even deserve that. They're supposed to be able to do better than this. Shame on you, Valve. This is a C tier game instead. I know some of you guys are gonna hate me for this, but on mobile, I felt like this is a C tier. Valve could have done better. Let's not forget about the game that started all of this, though. The game literally just called Auto Chess. This one was a B tier experience in my opinion. It was actually a great game, but it just didn't have the faster play sessions that we see in Chess Rush, and it was a bit more convoluted to get into as well. It wasn't that bad of an experience, it just wasn't as great as Chess Rush in my opinion. Now, let's change things up a bit though. Let's move away from Nintendo and from these auto chess games and onto Dawn of Isles instead. That also released this year. Feels like a long time ago, but it actually did release in 2019. It had a really beautiful world, lots to dive into, decent monetization as well for this type of MMORPG/survival game. So hey, that's a B tier game in my opinion. Rolling right along though to Farm Punks, which is a game about literally rolling fruit down a hill. You know what? That is an A tier game. You get an A tier for doing that. Next one, Drive. I think that's the first racing game, isn't it? Easy A tier racer in my opinion. If you like mobile games that are casual and you like racing games, this one is definitely the one to play this year. Now, Non-Stop Night 2 though, what a disappointment. We should just call it Just Stop Night. I think that's gonna be its new game now. You know what? This was such a major downgrade from Non-Stop Night 1 and really just not worth playing at all in my opinion. This was a huge letdown, so this is an E tier game. Now, Arch Hero, though, really captured me this year, and I think it did the same for lots of you guys as well. It did have a really frustrating energy system, though, so I guess I'll have to give... the best I can give this is a B tier because of that energy system, I guess. Now, this next one really cracked me up. Void Tyrant is a blackjack poker RPG. And that's all I'll say about Void Tyrant. It's an incredibly well-made game. Easy A tier in my opinion. Just don't ask, just go play it. You're gonna enjoy it. Talking about RPGs, by the way, we actually haven't had that many great RPG releases this year, but First Summoner is definitely one of them. This game looks great visually, its gameplay is very unique, and if you stick to the single player, the monetization won't annoy you that much. So that's an easy A tier in my opinion, because of the innovative and fun core gameplay loop. Frostborn though, where do we even start? No points for copy-pasting an existing game and just adding a different skin on top of it. Sorry, this is officially the first F tier list. F for failed effort, I guess. No thanks. Moving on. Walkmaster instead. Walkmaster is difficult. It's basically the QWOP of 2019, so that will have to be an A tier. That was an easy one. Evil Lands is one of the most interesting RPGs of 2019, in my opinion. It's an open world multiplayer RPG. Sign me up, I say. Evil Lands was pretty awesome. It did lack some polish though, and I did have some hiccups and some frustrating experiences with their servers, so I guess this will have to be a B tier, but it could definitely move up to an A tier if they fix that stuff. Now, this next one I like to call the mighty quest for horrible monetization. Where do I even start with this one? Copying Night Suit's gameplay and adding some horrible Ubisoft monetization fires this game, the mighty quest for epic loot, all the way down to F tier. Let this one die in 2019, and let's move on instead to another Eden. I'm really liking the combat system in this game. I'm loving the world design, and I'm enjoying the beautiful music track this game has to offer. There's a light gacha hero unlocking monetization system, but still though, this game is amazing. If you like these types of games, this is a definite A tier game. And then, my friends, we were blessed with Infinitoad #2. It finally released in 2019 after waiting for years for this one. Now, this is one of, if not actually my favorite tower defense game on mobile. It looks simple, but don't let that fool you though. This is an S tier game of 2019. Smite Blitz, on the other hand, maybe the worst game of 2019, definitely an F tier. I can't even believe they released this one. They shouldn't have been allowed to do that. Whoever signed that off is just kind of stupid. Moving on though to something I'm really happy about. Call of Duty Mobile, probably my I guess my favorite game of the year. High quality, competitive gameplay, fast matches. This, my fellow mobile gamers, is an S tier, no doubt about it. And the same actually goes for Ooh La La Idle Adventure. Now, this game got me hooked like no other game this year because it took the idle games to the next level by essentially merging not just RPG but also MMORPG gameplay elements with the idle genre to create something that was truly unique and something that the mobile space had never seen before. Yes, there is a bit of pay-to-win monetization in this game, but it doesn't really impact your enjoyment or my enjoyment of the game, so I'll have to give this one an S tier as well. Gears Pop though, Microsoft, what were you up to with Gears Pop? This was such a horrible attempt at creating something Supercell did back in 2016, which is Clash Royale, and they failed miserably at it. This is a horrible gameplay experience and a really bad monetization. Sorry, Microsoft, you'll have to end up in the F tier list once again, together with Smite Blitz and what else did we have down there? The Mighty Quest for Epic Loot and Frostborn. Shame on you, Microsoft. Shame on you. Go to your corner. I don't want to see you anymore in 2019. Come back with something better. Please do come back, actually. Come back with something better for 2020 instead. I'll give you another chance. Digimon, as I learned that it's called, Digimon Re-Arise is another horrible game. I mean, the game had the worst UI I've ever seen in 2019 at least. So definitely another F tier game. Sorry, Digimon fans, if I offended you by saying Digimon, and because I had to give this an F tier, but trust me, this game just isn't worth it. I don't think it's worth it even if you like the franchise. The King of Fighters All-Stars, though, is a really interesting one on the other hand. I actually really enjoy the gameplay. It's fast-paced and it's awesome, but the monetization, though, it seems to ruin the gameplay for many players after a few weeks or so. So I can't give this one more than a C tier, sadly. Moving on to Monolith though, this was a really cool game because of its purely player-created levels. There was literally no content in the game apart from user-created levels, and the gameplay was decently fun as well, but it did grow a bit too repetitive though, so I'll have to give this one a B tier. It was a great attempt though at creating a really awesome mobile game, and I think it did work out to some extent, just not as well executed as some of the other games on this list already. And then 2019 was also the year of Last Claudia, and this was an interesting one. It had a well-executed and different combat system for its genre, and I also gotta give it a few points for its in-depth min-maxing systems and very relaxed monetization system, at least in comparison to other team-based RPGs on mobile. So this is a B tier. Although this one might actually be an A tier or even an S tier if you're a fan of gacha RPG games. Now I wonder how you guys would rank this next one, but it actually took me by surprise in a positive way because Tales Rush is just a better art hero really. Why better though? Well, it has the same monetization system, but just more characters, which means more replayability, and I quite like that. So whereas I put Art Hero as a B tier game, I guess I'll bump this one up to an A tier because of the added characters, which really does change the gameplay drastically. So thumbs up for that. Now moving on to some of the most recent releases of 2019, we also saw Anima ARPG. That was a really interesting game as well, especially because of its very simple $1 in-app purchase monetization system. So if anyone is looking for a Diablo-like ARPG set in a dark fantasy universe, this one is actually quite well made, and I'll give it an A tier. It goes to the A tier list together with all the other great games. I think any game in the S tier and the A tier, you guys should definitely go check out in my opinion. Now I also wanted to make room for at least 1 or 2 idle games, and the next one is Merge, and this cute little merge game was just a joy to play, but it really does have us watch a lot of advertisements. They are incentivized, so I guess technically we could choose not to watch them, but the gameplay is set up in a way that you're definitely gonna watch them. So I'll give this one a B tier just because of all the advertisements, which I know that I'm gonna grow tired of eventually. For now though, I am enjoying the game, so if you guys don't mind getting hooked on a game that will have you watch advertisements, maybe go check out Merge. Now, Mythgard was honestly the best CCG I've played on mobile this year, and it's also one of the only, I think it's actually the only new CCG that I played this year, so this is an easy A tier game. And then we have one of my favorite indie MMORPGs out there. This one isn't as developed as some of the other MMORPGs, but it's called Curse of Eros, and I would love to see it developed a bit further. So for now, it will land in the B tier with room to grow though. I think if I made a new list of these 2019 games next year, this one might have been able to move itself up to the A tier, assuming of course that the developer will continue developing the game. So, where are we at? Let's see. We only have 3 games left actually. Bombastic Brothers is the next one. This was such a frustrating release in my opinion. It had everything I'd like to see from a platform shooter. So the gameplay is fantastic, but it also had all the monetization tricks that I don't like to see. Gameplay is an easy A tier, but I'll push it down to a C tier because of this kind of horrible monetization system in my opinion. And then, of course, we had probably the most hyped MMORPG of 2019. It's a really well-made experience, and it's called Black Desert Mobile. I don't really feel like I can give it the S tier rank though, just because I think only old school RuneScape really fits into that S tier rank when it comes to MMORPGs on mobile. In my opinion, at least. You guys know me, I'm a sucker for old school RuneScape. I really love that game. But I did enjoy the gameplay of Black Desert Online as well. I just heard that the monetization gets kinda bad at higher levels. But I guess I'll land this one on an A tier for now, and then kinda just give it the benefit of the doubt. Just don't ruin my trust in you. Please don't destroy this game through horrible monetization in 2020 so that this video looks kind of bad. I hope you're listening, Black Desert Mobile developers. Don't let me look like a fool by giving you the A tier. But now for the last game of this year, Durango Wildlands. Yes, it finally launched after years of waiting. It finally globally launched in 2019. And then it closed down in 2019 as well. What a shame. I really liked this game, and I want to put it on the A tier list just to kind of remember that it existed. It was a great experience, but I don't think anyone can play it anymore. As far as I remember, it closed down around the 20th of December, and that's the last we're ever gonna see of Durango. So just like that, we've now plotted all the big free-to-play mobile game releases of 2019 that I have played onto this beautiful, beautiful mobile gaming tier list. Now, if you like this idea of a YouTube channel dedicated to geeking out over mobile games, then welcome home, my friends. We discover new mobile games every single week around here, and you're more than welcome to join our community, join the Nimble Nation by simply smacking the subscription button, the notification bell, and then leave a like and maybe share this video with a friend. I hope this is going to be a great video for recommending mobile games, and maybe you guys can hate on me a bit in the comments, or you can tell me how much you agree with my opinions. So, whatever the case is, let me know down there in the comment section, because then I will see you guys all again in 2020. And meanwhile, just keep gaming, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys around.